Hey, I'm Ansel Burch.
I'm Hannah Lane.
I'm Tori Brewton.
And it's time
to
party! We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly, you heathens. Today's episode was recorded on December 15th, 2025. Whether you like it or not, welcome to the show, guys. It's episode 2!
Episode 2.
Means you've probably already listened to episode 1. Gosh, I hope so. Because we are going to absolutely spoil the heck out of this movie now. And it's going to be a ride, I think. Sounds like we have a lot to talk about based on what we have already talked about.
I took notes.
But we are joined once again by the incredible Hannah and Tori from the Total Saps podcast, your go-to podcast for romance discussion. Mostly romances that are awesome so far, by my estimation.
Yeah, we'll eventually find bad ones to talk about, but I don't know.
You don't want to be the
doing it
All
for
Bangers
fun.
podcast?
No. I was just thinking about that yesterday. I was like, we need to find some more that we're just gonna like totally rip to shreds, because that was fun.
Well, I think, yeah, probably. Here's the thing. I'm always fighting my inner critic every day. In my heart of hearts, I
know that's true.
An elitist. And so I need to make sure that I do not, like, I'm always trying to look on the bright side of things, because in my heart of hearts, I know I want to rip everything to
also,
shreds.
who cares? It's our podcast.
That is true. It is ours.
They are
We
quite
can do what
literally
we want.
tuning in to hear you be critical.
What are you
That's
I
true.
love to critique shit. Like, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm a
let's go.
complainer at heart. What are we
That
talking
being
about? So we
said-
need to find like some good like popular movies that among the girls are like either loved or hated.
I mean, I hate 27 Dresses with my whole heart.
That didn't even come. I mean, I don't. Yeah, you're right. That is a straight.
I also do not like the Lake House. And when I think about the Lake House, so when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, this is like so much better than the Lake House.
I couldn't even begin to tell you. I can't remember that because I've only seen it once and it was many moons ago, but I couldn't even begin to tell you whether or not that was good. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well let's move on from our shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tune in. There's lots of good shit there.
Yeah.
But today we are talking about the 2016 or 17, depending on who you ask, film Your Name. Everything says 2016 until I got to Rotten Tomatoes, which said 2017, which
that might have been the American release.
Maybe, but that's wrong. I'm just going to say that's wrong.
Yeah, I think that's
A
wrong.
2016 film all the way from Japan, in which, according to Rotten Tomatoes...
Man, I wish we could go back into 2016.
Yeah, right? Well, a little bit
it depends
earlier.
on which
Thank
part.
you.
Now,
Yeah,
hold on.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
That's true.
We need to go back to before the DNC, and then just go from there.
Yeah.
We can probably tell some people.
Can
some
I just
things.
do the Obama administration over?
Yeah, I will say, I know I'm skipping like way ahead, but like, damn, I've never seen Friends as ride or die as like Teshi and like Sayaka, because holy shit, like coming, if having your friend be like, this is gonna happen, and immediately being like, I'm gonna do major crimes.
I will do some terrorism.
I wrote that down. I said, I not even about her friends, but because it was at the point where I was looking at his friends, or like we were just meeting his friends. But her friends really did it in that town later. Like they really took some risks. But his friends, I wrote, I love his friends. They're such good friends.
They're good friends.
They were so cute at like the little lunch.
I'm a little sad he didn't end up dating the one girl, but
well, so like,
wait, the girl from the restaurant.
Yes.
The coworker?
Yeah.
Oh, were
sad? See,
were you shipping the glasses with the?
Oh, you mean
the
the
one
friend
he went on the date with? Yeah.
Oh.
Are you talking about the actual character, Taki?
Yes. When
when
Taki went on the date that was set up by
No.
No?
Whack. I know this is coming from a straight man. No. Let me tell you what I thought initially, which, Hannah, give me the go ahead. Is this yes or no? Should I say this?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't know, because listen, this is my first, as we know, like I don't know that much about anime. This is my first time watching this film. I had no context. But when Mitsuha was in Taki's body at the beginning, and she was just kind of trying to like figure out what the fuck she was doing, and she had to go to work, and then she was like interacting with the girl at work. I forget her name. I'm sorry.
Okudara.
Oh, Miss Okudara. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my first thought was, wait, is this like, are they gonna fall in love? Like, is she gonna try and come to Tokyo to find this girl? I thought that was what the love story was gonna be.
I mean,
like, genuinely,
so much better.
Better?
I thought so too, because I was like, okay, I didn't get
because she liked Taki better when Taki was Mitsuha.
Yes, I genuinely thought that was going to be the love story where Mitsuha was going to come to Tokyo and she was going to be like, girl, it's you and me, and they were going to be like, oh yeah, perfect, and Taki was just going to be a good friend,
present. Yeah.
That is what I thought.
So
you can't fall in love with Taki. He's already been in your body.
Well,
yeah, and he
right. That's
but okay. I don't love being put into the position of defending a hetero relationship. I don't love it, but here I am, because one of the things that, like, the way that I saw it, and because I'm like just used to it, is very much that Okudera is like, she's like 20 at this restaurant.
Right.
In a hotness scale or in an age scale?
Age. Like, she's graduated high school.
Okay.
Taki is a senior in high school. And also, sometimes friends will just go on dates together and it's not romantic, from what I gather.
But that's not what
Japan.
was happening here.
Right. I mean, like, I think everyone in that restaurant had a huge crush on her, whatever.
Yeah.
She was like,
and Taki won.
But yeah. I think she was going, like, I do see the queer. I love the queer, but I also think Okudera probably, we don't see who her partner is. We can say it's a woman. And I also think that Mitsuha is a little gender nonconforming. I think this movie could be read as an exploration of
boobs, I'm just gonna say.
Well, I think that a lot of this movie, like, if we look at it through a examination of, like, not only blurring the lines of time, but also, like, how we relate to each other and the relationship between, like, masculinity and femininity, and how allowing certain quote unquote traits to come out of either one creates, like, a more full person. I think that's a very cool dynamic. That being said, I see what you're saying. I think it's a cool read. I am still happy with how things ended up.
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying, like, I really thought that that's what was happening until it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
Yeah. Well, because she says, like, I wanted to go on that date. He's going on it with her.
Yes. I was like, oh, she's trying to go on this date.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize she's crying because she was like,
she just wants to go to the cafes.
Well, she wants to go to the cafes, but also because she's like, oh, I did it. I got him with his crush, and now he's going to be happy with his crush.
Yeah.
And that means
except for
he's dating someone else.
And she said, no, thank you.
Wait, should we have given a description of, like, what's going on?
Yeah, we gotta reel it back.
I was
sorry.
That's okay. No,
I got really excited by the idea of the segue between redoing 2016 and trying to warn everybody.
Yes. Oh my God. Someone go to the head of the DNC and tell them, don't discount this small white-haired man who's angry and yells a lot, because we are about to have the most fucked up shit you can ever imagine occur the next 12 years of our country. God willing, we continue this experiment.
If we make it that far. Yep.
Yeah, like, good God. Okay, anyways.
Hold on by your nails. This is going to be so pay off all the lead up. Rotten Tomatoes tells us that a teenage boy and girl embark on a quest to meet each other for the first time after they magically swap bodies. I mean, even more vague, but also, I mean, you're most of the way there.
I thought they did a really good job of showing the complications of not only body swapping in an effective way, but also eventually what we learn to be time differences in a really good and deft way. Like, upon rewatch, the starting shot is actually the ending shot of like the whole thing.
I noticed that today too.
But like, it's interesting that this not only does have time, but it also has bodies. And when you think it's just going to be a fun body swapping, that's like a kind of zany one story, and then it just hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, I was going to ask, were you ready for the reveal?
As in, we're on different.
Yeah, that we're in different times.
I mean, kind of.
Kind of. Okay, that's
kind
a good
of
answer.
Just because the way the town looked, it was very obvious that it was. I just figured something was going to happen. I don't know.
It was too good to make it through the movie.
You were like, it's more minute 45. Something has to happen.
They're gonna blow that shit up. Yeah.
Right. I was like, well, the shit's already on a crater. Like, obviously, this is where we're going with this. But, yeah.
So
your girl's spitting in a box, and you're like, yeah, she's about to go.
The second time I watched it, I gently asked my husband, hey, do you want to watch this movie with me? And he's like, I don't know, I'm probably going to like leave to do errands or whatever. I'm going to leave halfway through. And then we find out that there was this occurred. And he literally said, what? Holy shit. His soulmate got hit by a comet?
You said when he dropped the pen, Bob was emotional.
But my husband was full. I'm sorry to disclose too much, but my husband is not necessarily like a romantic person, but he like fully sobbed at the end of this movie. Like, he was. Well, it got him.
Yeah, it's heavy shit.
Yeah. So this movie is like pretty lighthearted, right? Of like, oh, we're body swapping and we're figuring out who we are. But what I think is really interesting and is that this is one of the few movies in which the way that they know each other not only is like by experiencing each other's lives and like understanding how hard each other work to what they're doing, but also most of how they know who each other are is through their exterior relationships with their friends, and both of them become friends with their friends, which is really cool. And we don't have that many like film relationships where they fully integrate with friend groups and like bother to know them, because like
that's an excellent observation.
And families.
And families.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, you're right.
I really like that observation. Yeah,
me too.
Sometimes.
Cool, Hannah. I didn't think about that.
Because like, so we have our main girl who's Mitsuha Miyamuzu.
Yep.
And we have our guy who doesn't even get a last name. He's just first name Taki.
Just Taki.
Which in Japanese culture, they usually call you your last name until you are familiar enough to get your first name.
Oh.
According to IMDb, his last name is Takibana.
Oh.
Stop. Taki?
Yep, Takibana.
No.
Okay.
Well, they could have worked a little bit harder.
All right.
But yeah, so the fact that all of the people that they interact with like say their first name also indicates like a level of familiarity. But like yeah, I thought it was really sweet that Taki, like, he in his brain, he's like, that's Teshi and Sayaka. That's not like whoever these strangers are. And then I really loved Taki's friends because when Mitsuha first takes Taki's body, and like doesn't know what's going on, is still using like feminine pronouns, which you don't get in the dubs because English doesn't have I as I. Like,
yeah, in the dub, did they still do that moment? Because there's that moment where she gets called out, or
yes,
okay.
It said feminine pronouns in that interaction.
In the dub?
In the subtitle.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
I don't remember like in English what she said to the friends, but I do remember in the subtitles it like explained that they were feminine and the friends were like, what
hey, so you okay there?
Yeah. Yeah, so I understood what was happening last night, but when I saw it again today, it was much more clear. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice. One of the questions we like to ask on the show here is, how do you feel about the time travel mechanism? Like,
I'll tell you.
Did you like it? Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'll say. Wait, the mechanism being just like, does it work? Does it make sense? Or how they do it?
I left that question broad on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Because usually it's like a machine or a car or whatever, and you're like,
right.
The car makes sense, or the car's kind of dumb,
and you wake up.
This is like through weaving the magic of this.
Exactly, through
which is sick
the
as hell.
Weaving of time. It's so cool. I think that a lot of movies that involve time travel, for me, have me very caught up in the rules of the travel within whatever universe we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like I didn't really think about that while watching this at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is good.
That's nice.
Good, like I wasn't trying to like figure out like how they are actually doing this. I think it was really just a nice like sweet adventure like that we're taking on. And I don't know, I mean, when the grandma was talking about their ritual, both the weaving and the sake making, I forget what was it called,
the shrine maiden sake,
Kuchi Kamizake, Kuchi Kamizake. Kuchi Kamizake.
Kuchi Kamizake. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So anyways, to reel it in here, I just looked at it as like a really nice commentary on time and timelines and connections, like human connections that people make in really like just by doing mundane activities, like she was saying, like, sharing a meal, drinking some sake, tea, what have you. So my thoughts on the mechanism of the time travel, was that the original question, Ansel?
How did you feel about the time travel mechanism?
I think it was really cool and something that I didn't have to think too hard about, which is nice because I wasn't trying to figure out the rules and if it made sense and if the timelines matched up and like if there were, like how could you do this in this time and not mess other things up or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did a good job of staying out of its own way. Yeah, that's a great observation. Hannah, how about you? How did you feel about the time travel mechanism?
I thought it was really good, especially because they incorporated it into dreams. Because so there's a few things that I was thinking of. First, when I was first watching the movie, I thought it was going to be all about Red String of Fate, which is this idea of like Everybody is connected by a red string, and if you suddenly see your soulmate, or if you suddenly see a red string, you follow it and you will find your soulmate.
But it's not
That's
that.
I was going to say, but like it is kind of that.
It's a little bit of that, right? But I think two things kind of really, having it be a dream, like they experience it by not being able to fully remember it, I think is so good, but also is so related to that, like just that throwaway story, or not throwaway story, but the story of Mayugoro, when they were talking about like, hey, 200 years ago, there was a sandal maker, his bathroom caught on fire and all of our papers caught on fire. So we don't actually know why we do these rituals. We don't know why any of these things happen, but keeping the tradition alive is just as important as knowing why. And I feel like that's also a thesis for like both Taki and Mitsuha, just like they know they need to be doing something even if they can't remember why in the first place. They know they need to be seeking somebody even if they don't know exactly why. And I know it's right. I felt like that was a beautiful little parallel. Go on.
Yeah, I mean they repeat many times that they feel like they're always searching for something, someone.
But and then the line, I wrote it down of just because the way that the grandma is describing Masubi and the threads is also how the story goes, where they converge and take shape, which is like kind of how you see how they're going to interact with each other. Then they twist, where they're circling around each other. Then they tangle, they become so you can't necessarily separate them. And then they sometimes unravel, which is what, like, they started unraveling, and then they completely broke and then connect again. And I'm sorry if I'm jumping everywhere, but I also really love the fact that it wasn't an immediate resolution. Between, oh, we saved this town and we're immediately finding each other.
Oh,
I love the fact that there was so much tension. They did a lot of times, like, stories don't know how to hold tension and hold the gravity of what something could be like, what losing it could feel like, because they're in such a rush to get to the end and get to the happy ending that they don't let the audience linger in the feeling of loss. And like, they did such a good job in this of really making us feel the frustration and desperation of trying to remember something, and then just the absence of their relationship together. And once the reveal happens that like it's 8 years, it's actually 8.5 years until they finally meet again, is I think really good.
I have something to add, which is kind of like a little bit of a wild out there thought and take, but it's something to add.
Sounds great.
In answering your question about like the time travel mechanism, it's cool that it happens in dream states, because our consciousness as humans is like the most, or our unconsciousness, excuse me, like what happens in our mind, like we don't really know. Like we obviously know a lot, but it is like an unknown. It's like going into the mind of a human, you can only be in your own mind, that we know of, right? So it's cool that that's where the like jump, if you will, is happening. Because who's to say we're not doing this shit in our sleep, in our dreams? If you've ever been a person that has like fairly like, or if you went through a period of time where you had like pretty lucid dreams, like I feel like I've gone through periods of time in my life certainly when I was younger, not so much anymore, where I have had like some pretty lucid dreams, and how can you like definitively say what we're doing in the mind when we're dreaming? You can't. It's just like we don't know what's going to happen after you pass, you know?
Yeah.
Like the consciousness and the unconsciousness is pretty unknown, so it's cool. Anyways, what?
Yeah, no, but I think you're absolutely like that is a delightful observation around how they make it work in the fiction, because the whole thing is, right, like they could be hallucinating this whole thing, right? And they almost convince themselves on multiple occasions that this isn't really happening. And that's it plays with this yearning. It gives us, the audience, this sense of yearning to be like, no, don't lose it. No, this is important and beautiful. Don't lose it. And then she
and that's
dies
exactly what it's like
in the
when you wake
second
up from a
act.
dream.
And you're
Okay,
like, oh
relax.
God. Are we going to spend the rest of this movie with her being dead already? It gives us that chance to yearn.
It does.
We love a
Also,
yearning moment, if that's
well, and
that's
then
one thing.
The revelation that this is a family fucking trait.
Oh yeah.
Right, but that makes sense, right? Because it's like, obviously you guys are, the grandma says, oh, we lost, the paperwork, so we don't really know why we do these traditions, we just do. Well, girl, y'all are living on top of a crater, so you're probably doing the traditions for a reason, because
not only that,
if this bitch is jumping dreams to fix the town, then I don't know.
But her grandma literally said, I did this, I had strange stuff, and your mom did. And it's also making me wonder, like, is that how her mom and her dad met?
Yeah. Oh.
No, that dad was way too square. And I understand he probably was not always like that, but no, that man was not doing that. He's never dreamt.
Also, fully. So, like, that man, because here's the thing, we don't see what happens except for, like, everyone survives. And then, but, like, that guy has to be a new convert to double down and like take back the place of being a fucking priest in that temple, right? Because if your daughter comes up to you and is like, the town is going to be terminated, and then you're like, wait, you're not
immediately.
But then he recognizes you're not actually my daughter. Because
he only recognized that the second time that she came back in a huff.
No, he recognized it the first time when she pulled her.
She pulled the tie.
Yeah, the tie thing. Yeah.
Because Taki has the quick temper to stand up for the emotions that.
Correct.
To stand up for the anger that Mitsuha
said. She goes, do you know what she said to him? The hot girl from work. She said, "You're weak, but quick-tempered." Yeah.
You cannot win a fight, but you always pick them.
I was like, wow, okay.
And then Mitsuha is able to communicate emotions that are that are softer, and that's why she strengthens those relationships.
And that's why they're meant to be together.
I also do love that Taki in Mitsuha's body ends up like being the hottest girl in school.
That's a cute element.
And I love that Tsukasa, the guy in glasses, when he's like, oh, he's back to his normal self, but he was kind of cute yesterday. Like nobody's like it's weird that you're nicer. Nobody's like it's weird that you're more femme. They're like, oh, you're being cute. Yeah. And I just can't get over the fact that Tsukasa and Takagi, when they saw he didn't have lunch, they made him a sandwich.
That was very sweet.
That's why I wrote down, I love his friends. They're great friends.
Mm-hmm.
And when, if you were to switch bodies with a random, what did she say she wanted to be? A handsome boy
She wanted to be a handsome boy in Tokyo.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what she was, right?
She got a wish.
If you switch bodies with a random handsome boy in Tokyo, like, wouldn't you want him to have like the coolest, nicest friends? Okay, not necessarily the coolest, but very kind,
very sweet.
Friends.
Yeah. I mean, they'll arrange a cover for you at work so that they can sit around with you on a train to go maybe find something.
They were on that trip for like I feel like 2 nights and 1 day.
It did feel like longer than 1 day,
days.
although 1 day is all that they accounted for.
It was definitely they mentioned. She said when they were eating ramen. Once. Okay, maybe you're right. Okay, maybe it was only 1 night, 2 days, whatever.
But it seemed a lot longer. You're absolutely right. It seemed way longer.
Well, that was actually okay. You know how I said I had no qualms about this movie, Hannah? I had no notes. I do actually have a note.
There's a note. We found one. Okay.
Why? Okay. It doesn't take any time for anyone to get anywhere in this movie. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what's his name?
Japan is very small.
Teshi? Okay, but you'd see like this massive. Okay, her friend Teshi, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was staring out his window, and it was all the way up on the hillside. Her house, Mitsuya's house. Okay, and she was just about to start the little ritual with the sake, and he got there in like the next instant. Okay. Also, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to go. I don't want to go down this tangent. I just multiple times while watching this, I was like, "How do these?" She's like walking all over town in like 1 minute.
They got very good bikes in Japan. I guess what it is.
Or biking all over town in like 1 minute. Anyways, okay.
I think you're absolutely right, though. It. You know what it is?
That was the most magical part of it.
Sure.
No, I don't mean that as a justification. I mean that is exactly what you're talking about. Like, oh, I need to get over there. I'm over there now. Like that's how dream time works. Unless the journey is part of it, at which point it seems like it takes fucking ever.
I'm thinking, what? Like that's like a half day's hike, and you're on foot. So what are you talking about? Like the hike to the crater too? What?
That's a long way. Yeah.
Well, it took
to me that looked like that was like that would have been like a 4-day journey.
Oh no, I think that it took so long the first time because I think it's probably like a 2-3 hour hike, but it probably took so long because Matsuo was carrying her grandma.
I'm sorry. The way that I interpreted that, to me, that looks like a 4-day fucking hike. And I apologize because
you are from
I know
Michigan.
I know that Hannah, an observation that Hannah has made about me and is so true, is that I have difficulty. I struggle with like the suspension of disbelief. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'll just leave that there.
No, it makes sense.
Shouldn't it have taken you like half a day to fucking get up to the power grid? Like, how is that real?
At the speed of plot.
Anyway.
The other thing about the time travel mechanism, I love Twilight kind of mystical witching hour. Like, I love the fact that there's there's such an emphasis on the idea of like this one because Twilight is actually 2 different times. It happens at dawn and it happens at sunset. But this idea of just like right when it's a specific time at night, it just feels like anything can happen, that this is when magical things can happen. And having that incredibly beautiful scene of them being able to hear each other but not see each other and running around the crater and finally being able to see each other at twilight was so beautiful and well done. And I love that's where like the interwoven lines converged. And also it was incredibly heartbreaking to have the pen drop. And one of my initial pet peeves, like something that I had a how long does it take to get anywhere moment, was with him being like, I need to write let me write my name, and actually writing I love you. And but I also get it And Bob, that's one of the things that broke Bob, was because during the most of all of the things that was so important to have her know, even if they never meet each other again, he needed her to know that he loved her.
Yeah.
And that is really beautiful, even if it is frustrating as somebody who would want the story to continue.
Are you saying that you are wanting the story to continue, Hannah?
The story of them together? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Like you would watch like a
yeah,
show about this?
I mean,
Really?
it kind of
I
seems
don't
like
need
we
to-
did, honestly. We just
Yeah.
watched
I know,
all 3
me too. I
episodes
was
at
like,
once.
really? You would watch a show about this after that? After all of that? After that 2 hours? Okay.
Well, it's also interesting
Hannah's
because
not a fair
now that
representation. She just watched One Piece.
I'm not done with
good
One
point.
Piece.
You'll never
How
be done
could you
with
be?
One Piece.
And how could you be?
They will keep making it at the rate you are alive.
Look, Tori, you just found out what One Piece is.
I know, but I've Googled it and I've seen how many episodes there are, and I still my what I'm gonna say is the same. And how could you be?
The Netflix version, I quite enjoyed.
I am enjoying the anime. I just know I'm at a very emotional part. That being said, I think I'm gonna go repeat the thing of, I'm so glad that they are now finding each other as adults, as opposed to one of my biggest pet peeves in anime is no matter how romantic an anime is, a lot of animes focus on high schoolers, which is like, I understand because it's easy to have an emotionally driven story with characters that are at their most emotional time, because you feel everything when you're a teenager. You feel impulsive. That's why a lot of our like main characters are teenagers in like young adult books, because they will make a lot of mistakes and they will be earnest, but they're like stumbling through.
It's plausible that they would go completely off the rails.
Yes. Yeah. However, in a lot of romances in anime, it's like, oh, we get together, and then it ends with them like getting married. And that's like very frustrating because it's like, yes, we see this great romance, but because they're in high school, the older you get, the more you're like, they're not going, like, that's stupid. Yeah, why would you stay with the person from high school?
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
And of course, in a lot of these romances, they go through like extra trauma of like, oh, it gets to a level of trauma bonding because you've gone through extraordinary circumstances together. Mm-hmm. But what's really what I think is really fantastic about this movie is it has that buildup of they've gone through all of these like phenomenal experiences that nobody else in the world can relate to, but they have forgotten them. And because they have forgotten them, they are not only able to move into the world and discover who they truly are as adults, but when they reunite and they are able to, whoever they become is a more solid person than the person that would have just been like, well, I can't be with anybody but you. They have a real choice when they find each other. And it is so brave in those last decisions when you see a stranger, especially since
you just have a feeling that you might know them, and you're like, I'm just gonna say something because I can't let this moment pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see them struggle with social like politeness of, should I run up and I'm compelled to say something, but like, will I be made a fool of? Will I make them uncomfortable? And just deciding like, no, it's more important to go for it. That bravery is like what love is all about. Is this I need to connect with you, or the possibility of being with you is greater than the shame of like being rejected.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm approaching this topic. And I don't know, I thought that was really, I love the fact that it takes so long for them to find each other again, because they are fully
How old
adults.
do we know how old they were when they finally found each other? Did anyone get?
It was 8.5 years, or 8 years and like 3 months, because it started snowing on the 8-year anniversary of like the comet. Okay. So it was 5 years after they graduated high school. So it was like they were like 24.
Ugh. Well,
which is still young, but like,
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Versus like if they just ran to each other as 17-year-olds.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
I loved his poster in his bedroom. That was just an arch, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it was like architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that.
I did not catch that. That's good.
Yeah, he was into architecture. Sure, that's why he was able to draw so well.
He was, yeah.
I assume so because he got a better suit.
Did he ever get a job? You know how he went on all those job interviews?
Yeah. Well, because they had the it was snowing.
The friend told him you need another suit.
I think he probably got a job.
Let's hope he got a job.
Let's see here. Things I wrote. A Panoose. When she first like discovered that when Mitsuha was first in Taki's body. Service industry, am I right? I love that she did an embroidery of a hedgehog when Okudero
so cute.
Got her skirt slashed.
Again, why I thought this was gonna be
a little bit sapphic,
romance. I was like, this what? Hello.
I love that when they start really identifying who each other are, and they're like going over the do's and don'ts. I love they both have a line where he says, "Hey, weaving is too hard. It's too difficult. How are you doing this?" And she says, "You're taking too many shifts." And what I think is really
he said, "You're spending
all my money."
which I get, but also I love the fact that it's because they've been in each other's bodies that they truly recognize how hard each other work. Because I think that if like from an outside point of view, if you're like, oh, you're just making wristbands all day, I can see somebody being like, you're just making wristbands all day, and because he's doing it, he's like, no, this is really hard. And I really appreciate that.
Another thing that I wrote down, which made me chuckle on 2 occasions, I think it popped up twice. The Coffee Boss vending machine.
I love that Taki built a cafe for them.
So sweet.
Yeah.
I also love that you could tell if it was Taki or Mitsuha in Mitsuha's body based on whether or not she had a ponytail. Because when it was her, she like did the whole hair. But yeah, I love the Coffee Boss machine. There was another thing you were about to say, Tori.
No, I was thinking about something else in my final answer.
I also love the sake making. I thought that was like such a good moment of like, one, showing the difference between like being too young to recognize like social awkwardness and like still understanding your duties, but being like annoyed that you can't just be like a normal teenager. You have to do this ritual.
Mm-hmm.
But that ended up saving her in the town and I love how like, yeah, that it was half of Mitsuha that he drank. But I also thought, maybe I'm glad there's not botulism in this movie.
She was so horrified that he drank that.
Yeah, because she spit. It's her spit.
I know.
She also was so mortified that anybody she knew would have seen her doing it. So, like, it's interesting because it seemed to me like such an important part of the culture of the
town's
town,
culture.
right?
I know.
Like, this is the shrine. Is your family the only one that cares about the shrine? Are you the only ones?
Yeah.
Because I thought the whole town was into this.
It's her name. It's the
Well, obviously the whole town is into it. They come
Yeah,
and watch the stuff, but
it's the Miyamuzu shrine. So it's her shrine. Like, that's also why she wanted to be a boy from Tokyo, is because if she was a boy, she wouldn't have to be inheriting the shrine duties necessarily.
Yeah. Certainly not the maiden part.
right.
Oh, I also thought that they did a really good job of animating the different ways in which they move in each other's bodies. When Mitsuo was in Taki's body, I thought they did a really good job of just like making his movements feel a little bit more like her and vice versa.
Yeah.
I loved when she was going to Tokyo and she was like, and she went to Tokyo, she saw him on the train. He didn't recognize her. And she's like, oh, like maybe he's embarrassed. And then she says, but he's Taki in her mind. And like, that was like that felt so good to me as like a line read of just like her being like, no, but this is him. I have to do it because it's him. And I don't know. I thought that was really good. So the stairs that they end up at,
Yep.
and she's at the top and he's at the bottom. Those stairs are like still city stairs, but there's enough like wild plants that it almost looks a little bit more rural. And I thought that was like a nice blending. And I know it's just like a dilapidated part of Tokyo, right? But it's like, I couldn't help but think it was also the two of them coming together.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I do think that the dad, I hope he repented and joined the shrine. Because if my daughter, like, and I thought she was crazy, but she ended up being right and saved the whole town. Yeah. Fucking town.
That he's in charge of? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though he's corrupt, question mark?
He's definitely corrupt, but that's also because he's trying to fill the hole in his heart that his wife left him. And men would rather run a corrupt mayoral campaign than go to therapy.
Right. Anything but that. Anything but that.
Also, I like that Teshi was also in a similar fate where like he was like resigned to having the normal life. And yes, Teshi was like ride or die because he was also like in love with Mitsuo.
Thank you. Okay, I thought so.
Yeah. Same. He was into Mitsuo. Mitsuo wanted him with Sayaka. But I like that he also was like probably already thinking about, like, as soon as he got explosives, he's like, I don't want to be in this ratty little town. All of his fascination is like with technology. And then being told you're just going to be in construction. Him being like, I'm going to blow this shit sky high. That probably felt cathartic to him.
This is what it's all been for. So the last question that we have on our show is, was your name worth your time?
Yes.
Yeah. It was worth my time. It was worth double time.
Yeah.
Watched it twice.
I need to watch it a second and maybe a third time because, I full disclosure, I watched it on my phone, which was not the right choice.
What?
I know.
How is that real? Where? Why?
Because I had to do part of it while I was at work, and Tab didn't want to watch it, and so I watched it on my phone.
Jail.
And it's so beautiful. I need to watch it much bigger.
Yeah. Tori and I sentenced you to jail.
Okay, here's my thing. The love story of it all between the two kids, that was great. That was fine. That was lovely. But I actually think that what was better for me was, I think, the love story with, what would I call this? Like, I don't know, human connection, I guess. And when the grandma is discussing what musubi means, and there's obviously multiple meanings for this, it reminded me of like, when you just like go out. This is just truly like what I thought about when I was done with the movie. And I was thinking about human connection. I'm like, when you just like go out, this is not a night that you've like planned, but it just kind of happens, and you're with like one or maybe two really, really close friends, and you're in a place. It could be like a restaurant, it could be a bar, it could be a music venue, wherever you are, maybe you're at an event, and you like just like meet some other humans that are probably like close to you, like spatially for whatever reason, and you just end up talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the feeling that I get when I am watching this movie. That feeling being that inexplicable, tingly, like magical, really nice time to be alive in this human body with this level of whatever plane of reality we're on, right? Like, just when like everything kind of matches up and you have a magical meal and you like meet new people and you're talking and you're connecting. That is really what a lot of this throughout the film, with the visuals and the time travel stuff, like that's like kind of what I was thinking about throughout. Again, the love story, to me, that's cute, that's fine, I love it, beautiful. But it's more about the weaving of time and timelines and connections for me that I was like, oh, this is great. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It makes
I
a
think
lot of
so.
sense.
Sorry, that's like a sales joke at the end. Does that make sense?
Well, Ansel, how about you talk about whether or not you feel like this was worth the time?
This movie is a 1,000,000% worth your time. It was definitely worth my time. I love a unique time travel mechanism. Not to mention all the other wonderful things about this movie, but the fact that the time travel is done through this sort of family heritage, but also the connection between two people, and that it's almost secondary to the first act of the film, right? Like you can go through the first act of the film not knowing that they're time traveling, which is pretty cool. Most time travel movies, it hits you up front, like we have to explain the paradigm, we have to explain why it's okay that these guys don't talk, or not okay that they talk. There's a lot of logistics. And so this one starting off this way means that the metaphor that they're getting at with the time travel is that much more received, I think. We're not spending our time trying to figure out, like, what would I do? A lot of time travel is about exploding the idea of what you would do in this situation, right? If you ran into yourself after time traveling, would you fuck? If you ran into, like, if you could kill baby Hitler, would you? These are the sorts of things that we sort of usually get with time travel media. Whereas this one was more about, like, can you make a connection with someone that you never meet? What is the spirit of who you are, and what is important about that? Like, those are the questions that we got at with this, and the importance of who she is and who he is become more important than the mechanism of the time travel. And I thought that was really cool. So in the continuum of time travel movies, I think this is a really good one, very worth your time, but also is beautiful and sweet and heartfelt and just all the things you could want in a good hour and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, Hannah?
I definitely think this was worth your time. Your time is on my side. Because so a lot of times when people are trying to figure out if they even want to watch anime, you'll get a lot of people giving them shonen. They'll give them all of these kind of entries into big action fight scenes, wild animation styles, and boobs that go in 5 different directions. But not only is this worth your time as just like a really beautiful entry into animation, but as a story itself, I think they did such a good job of, as Ansel was both of you were talking about, exploring what connection really means, exploring the essence of what a person really is, and also like how beautiful it is when those lines are blurred, and how much impact people can have on each other, even if it's just for a moment in a dream. One of the things I also forgot to mention was I really loved that, like, the impact of him saying, I didn't even know anybody in that town, but still the loss of this town really affected me. Because in a way that's very true, because he didn't meet her. But yeah, I think that this is just a beautiful movie about the beauty of spirit, I guess. And it's ironically, even though there's a lot of grabbing your own tits, not that fan servicey if you want to get into anime.
Are you
is
saying
that a fan servicey thing, do you think? The boob grabbing?
I do not think this was fan servicey.
See, I obviously I'm an outsider here. That was all okay. That was my other qualm about it, is that I'm like, this is a girl, like this is a child, and why do I need like the initial downward facing shot? The boob grabbing was kind of a lot, but I guess what you're saying is like there's normally more of that type of stuff.
Unfortunately.
Of course, because men exist, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we
but also I will say,
used to it.
I would feel I have seen things where there's not any of that, and that feels more incorrect, because I'm sorry, I am married to a man, and every day
we're sorry too.
If I was to be 5 miles away and text him, hey, do you want to grab my boobs? That man would be at my door. Like, it's... I cannot expect a 17-year-old boy who finds themselves in a body.
No, I don't expect it to not, but like just the way that we first saw it, I was like, okay, that was a little too much.
It was a bit much.
It was a bit much, but it wasn't. There are some. I will, Tori, in anime,
yeah, I believe you.
I will guide you, and I will try to give you as much warning as possible. But there's some weird stuff in anime, and this is.
This is amongst the tamest.
That's shocking.
It is interesting that we have not brought up yet that the first thing she does upon waking up in his body is grab his junk.
Check her own boobs. Well, she
does check her own boobs. That's right. She does. She's like, wait, where are my boobs? Hold on, what's this?
We didn't see, like, all she said was there's something there.
No, she grabbed it.
She grabs it.
I know, but we didn't see her grab it.
That's fair.
We didn't see her grab it.
Yeah.
Classic.
That's fair. Because nobody wants to see that. No, okay.
No, I don't. You're right. I don't want to see a 17-year-old boy's dick outline. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. That would be wrong. Yeah. But point well taken. The fact that these are children does make the sexualization problematic.
Yeah.
Even if it is absolutely what a 17-year-old would do if they woke up.
I don't
I guess they could be 18 too, right? Like they were about to graduate.
They might be
They're
18.
Probably just 18. I'm just young for my grade.
Well,
always,
but also this becomes a whole discussion that could take like 3 hours about the difference between like sexualization and exploitation, like sexualization of young characters versus like realistic depictions, but also considering that like there's culture that has a really terrible there's a lot of culture that has a lot of pedophilic nature in it, and like yeah, this is a bigger discussion.
That's hard. It's hard to do with kids because I mean it's hard to do with kids, you know? Like I don't want to see it at all,
because it should be.
It's hard.
But what about like, you know, when you're like a teenager and you want to watch something about other teenagers, like
it's
I don't know.
Like it's not realistic for them to be chased the whole time. Cause
there's a really
it's absolutely
there's a very famous, very beautiful anime that the most unrealistic thing to me is that at no point is she like they don't kiss the entire time, and it frustrates me to no end because like there's a difference between that line between sexualization and on it like realistic depiction, and like for this, because there are stories in which identifying the real experiences is more beneficial to the story, but there's just been so many stories in which they add sexualization. And because the thing is, it's either everybody's a pervert or everybody is chaste, which makes people want to do more perverted stuff, which makes the thing you want to be more chaste. And it's a vicious cycle because nobody like wants to engage in the fact that everybody anyway, it's a big discussion that should not probably be on Time to Party. Or maybe it should, but like
it's not party like, Hannah.
It's not.
There's more to that. Google it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are much smarter than me that can talk about this.
You're killing the party vibe.
I am killing the party vibe. Unless it's a party that we don't want to be at.
It's a party where we talk about movies, so, you know, the vibes are going to be weird. I think this was a great discussion. Thank you so much, both of you, for talking about Your Name.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you, Ansel.
Well, but don't worry, there's more. There's a whole other episode coming down the pike next week. So friends, tune in for that as we talk about random stuff. Next episode is our 5 minutes to talk about whatever you want episode, in which I get to do a little edutainment and they get to talk about whatever's interesting them right now. So tune in next week for that, because it is always time to party. You can find us on the internet. I am at The Indecisionist on all the meta properties, as well as Blue Sky. You can also find my other time travel podcast, For the Time Being, which is an actual play of the game that I designed. Please go check it out. I put a lot of work into it through accumulation of those two projects. So go give it a listen. It's lots of fun, I think.
I'm at VBrutes on Instagram and TotalSaps.com. Check us out. The appropriate links are there. The Patreon, that's important. And there's a TikTok as well, which Hannah does some really cool like illustrations and posts. And at some point you'll see me on there too. We're working on that. You know,
the Draw With Me posts are great.
They're so cool. Well, Hannah knows how I feel about them. But
I don't know if that's the terminology, but
speed draws, I guess.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I love them.
Let's just say, I'm at Total Saps on TikTok. Also, if you want to see my random thoughts throughout the years on TikTok, I'm at She's Truly Outrageous. And if you want to hear my very occasional Skeets or Blue Sky toast,
No.
I'm at Hanecdote. HANNAHCDOTE.
You can make it happen. You just need to say it with confidence. Skeets.
You know what? Actually,
Just
please
don't make it weird.
Please don't promote my
it's only
blue
weird if you
skies.
make
I'm
it
not
weird.
going to do it next time. I don't post enough for it to be important. I would say
I actually cannot believe that that's what they decided to call that.
Blue sky?
Yeah. Some people call it blue skeet.
Who's in charge? No, skeets.
Oh,
they don't.
No.
We call them skeets.
Oh.
They call them posts.
Oh, wait, I thought that someone Googled it originally and skeets was a real thing.
Skeets is a real thing, but the public did that. The people behind Blue Sky.
Okay. They're like, no, it's
that.
a post. Okay. And I can see why. Okay.
They don't want to be 4chan.
But they want to make a fortune. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. This has been an Indecisionist production. A special thanks to April Moralba for our podcast art and to Marlon Longid of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song. If you are still on a social media platform that uses hashtags, you can join in the conversation at #time2party. That's time, the number 2 party. Hey friends, remember to be excellent to each other.
Party on, dudes!